Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your girl Tanya, Lady T, and this is another edition of All Aboard. Let's get on this train. Yes, good morning, y'all. Good morning, good morning. I hope everybody's doing wonderful. And I did a little short video on yesterday, just speaking minimal about the death of Nelson Mandela. And years ago, when I went back to school to get my degree, I began to study on his ministry, his movement, and the power of his reconciliation with apartheid, trying to end apartheid. And I'm going to tell you, you know, a lot of times we'll read and watch a whole bunch of foolishness, but every once in a while, take the time out and read up on that type of history, that type of movement, that type of perseverance. I mean, my God, you think about when you read the Bible and how Paul was used. I mean, he was a killer of Christians, you know, a murderer of Christians. But look how the Lord used him to turn and remove the scales from his eyes. And Nelson Mandela, you know, his beginnings was very rough. We would call him the common day thug, lug, if you will. But anyway, I just, you know, I beseech you, you know, whenever you have some free time, read up on his history. I'm telling you, it's absolutely awesome. But anyway, I wanted to come on and talk to y'all this morning about hygiene, and I'm talking about children's hygiene. And I hope this camera is doing right because it's extremely sunny. So I apologize if y'all see half my face and the other half you don't see. But I wanted to talk about hygiene as it relates to, you know, not necessarily children, but just in general. Well, here it is. It's been in the media here locally where I reside and throughout the nation where, you know, children are going to school and have bad hygiene, have bad body odor. And I just wanted to tackle both ends. I mean, I'm going to tell y'all the truth. When I was younger, yeah, my parents stayed on us when we would go outside and play and carry on. When we came in, we had to take a bath. We couldn't just wallow around in our beds and all on the furniture and all that. No. Because my mom would tell me right quick, you stink, go on to take you a bath. When we got home from school, when we were, you know, grade school children, when we got home from school, we had to take a bath because we had that smell on us. And so, you know, it was just one of those things that, again, that's part of parenting as far as hygiene. Fast forward with my own. I can remember my son. I don't know what it was. I don't know if this is a boy thing, but them jokers were going to the bathroom and make you think that they was taking a bath and we're just sitting on the toilet while the water was running. Now, I don't know what kind of generational thing is that, but I've talked to a lot of women who have sons and they were like, yeah, my son used to do that mess too. So again, it is the parents' responsibility to make sure that your child is washing and cleaning themselves. And why I want to talk about it is because here in my community, we've had a lady who was totally upset, irate, that the teacher said something to her child about their hygiene. Now, let me just say this. Teachers, educators, in all fairness to their plight, teachers are there to educate your children. And I know sometimes their duties may cross over into being a child care provider because technically, if you think about it, that's what they are. They're pretty much providing care and education to your child. So where does the line stop and where does the line begin? And like I said, I'm on the side of the teacher. You're trying to educate a classroom of children, okay? And the child that this was told to was a first grader, okay? First, second grader, somewhere around there. And the teacher have been getting complaints from the other students that, oh, little I'll just say Susan, little Susan, she stinks. Okay, most children, they don't have a filter. They try to speak the truth, and they don't know that what they're saying may be hurtful to some people. They just are being children. They just say what it is on their mind, unless we as the adults correct them, of course. But you got children complaining about, oh, little Susie's, you stink. And then, of course, if children begin to smell that scent on that child, then yeah, they're going to talk about it. So what do you do as the teacher? I mean, again, they are the educator. It is their responsibility not just to teach your children, but the other 20 some other children within that classroom. So I think we as parents, you know, like I said, this woman was off the hook. She was totally upset about it. And I think, you know, sometimes we as parents, we're so sensitive. And yes, we know that we live in a society now where people are out to get your children. We hear all these horrible news reports about teachers sleeping and fondling their students. And I know that that's in the air, and a lot of parents are apprehensive, and they get a real attitude if a teacher says anything remotely to their child. But I have to say this. If you're teaching children, you're in a classroom and you smelling doo-doo all day, or that child is not being properly taught how to wipe, and I understand that, you know, motor skills and all that come into play with young children when they're, you know, wiping themselves after they've done number 2. If they don't do it properly, you know, they start itching and squirming and carrying on, and they got to be excused from the classroom, and that can be a distraction to the class. We understand all of that. But come on, parents, you know, we've got to do better about, again, training our children on certain things and not being so sensitive. You know, and like I said, that's what I work with, that type on that side of the aisle, where I'm mentoring these young mothers. I was a young mother, so that's where my heart is. These young mothers get so upset. And I said, you know, pick and choose your battles. If someone is telling you that your child has a hygiene problem, it shouldn't be that you carry on and get all upset because they said something to your child about that, or wrote a note home, or you feel like your child is being picked on. Come on now, address the issue. Don't try to throw your hands up and flare your hands up because you're not willing to receive what somebody said to you about your child. Everything ain't a fight. Everything ain't supposed to be for you to get so defensive about. Correct the problem. Let me tell you something. If somebody were to tell me, Miss Howard, you know, Dexter, he smelled like doo-doo. Girl, y'all, what? I would say, ooh, okay. I would be shamed, first of all. And I think that's what it is. A lot of parents, they're ashamed that someone said something about their child having bad body odor. But come on now, we got to mature and say, you know what? I thank you for that. I'll make sure I'll work with my child on that. I appreciate that. But what do people do? They get so offended. They get so out of the frame, you know, and start, you know, acting like a fish out of water. But no, if your child has a true body odor and your teacher has made the comment, because you have to keep in mind too now, that's going to stigmatize that child. That child's going to be trying to figure out, why is everybody calling me stinky? And I mean, I know everybody may not have the best of the, you know, of tangible things like necessities. I don't care if you don't have 5 outfits for your child. You keep those outfits clean, and you at least send your child to school clean and smelling fresh. And I understand too, again, the other side of it. There's a lot of children being raised by the grandma or even the great grandma. I mean, you got, honey, I've seen where there's 75-year-old grandmas in wheelchairs that have 2 and 3 children, grandkids that they're keeping because the mama's out there laying in the street or the daddy ain't nowhere to be found. And you know, that 75-year-old grandma is not able to get up and wash and bathe them children. But to keep them in the family, to keep them from foster care, you know, they keep those children in their household, and so a lot of that goes on. And I understand that there is exceptions, but I'm talking about you young folks who are well-able-bodied folk who need to get a grip, get your children cleaned, get that hygiene under control. I mean, I can remember when I was in grade school, I can remember this girl, she used to smell like pure pee. Pure stinking pee. And I had to tell, I think I was like in the 5th or 6th grade. I had to come out and tell her. I said, listen, I don't know what it is going on with you. I said, but you stink real bad. And you know, she cried and carried on. I said, you really need. And so I'm thinking, why didn't nobody say nothing to this girl? And like I said, I'm sitting here and I can remember that from way back when I was in the 5th grade. Fast forward in my grown years. I mean, you know, let's just be honest with you. You might have some good friends. And I'm going to tell you, this woman breath stunk so bad. And it's like, how does it stink? You know, I smelt it and dealt with it last year and I didn't say anything to you. But now, here it is the next year, and it's more, if you will, stankier. How does something get more stankier from one year to the next? Coming out of somebody's mouth. I'm not talking about, oh, I ate a onion sandwich. Oh, I had garlic toast and all that no, this wasn't that type of scent. This was something else going on within nature that I had never ever even come upon. You know, I think I had read somewhere where the human body is able to recognize 50,000 different types of smells, somewhere up there real high. And I'm sure none of us maybe have smelled all 50,000 or whatever that number was. It was a high number nonetheless. And I thought, okay, that's one of them scents that fit into that 50,000 scents that I had never smelled before. And now my body and my nose just was introduced to it. But like I said, I don't want to belabor the point, but I'm telling you, if you've got children and they smell like the funk of the 1,000 nations, and you've had a educator tell you that your child has bad body odor and you get offended, no, that's not what you do. You address the issue head on. You take that child home, you show them how to properly wipe, you show them how to properly bathe, and sometimes you have to go in there and make sure some of these little young teenage boys, and you need that. And I know they want their little privacy, but no, you need to make sure, yeah, sure, I need to make sure that water's hitting your skin. But anyway, I wanted to come on and talk about that. And I know that, you know, this might be a trivial conversation, but see, the reason why I'm bringing it up is because, you know, folks in the household of faith, they get attitudes with educators when they say something to their children. And I'm thinking, okay, so what do you want the teacher to do? Every time your child smell like the funk of 1,000 nations, they're going to call you off your job and you come get them? I mean, if that's the way it has to roll, then, and you know, because, I mean, you sitting up here teaching, and suppose you got 2 or 3 children in your classroom like that, that stink like that. I mean, you know, I don't particularly like to smell funk all day long. So, you know, again, let's pick and choose our battles when it comes to situations that we don't be so sensitive. And we got to be, even people, us as Christians in the household of faith, we got to be bold enough to be able to say, you know what, if I lose a friend, or so I thought to be a friend, because I'm telling them something about themselves. Listen, I'm a type of person, I would appreciate if you saw something on me that won't right. I had a hygiene, I would say, oh my God, I am so sorry, I just had no idea. I would do what I needed to do to correct it. Because see, you got to be mature. It's one thing if a person just trying to pick on you or hate on you. That's one thing. But I'm talking about somebody genuinely come to you and tell you, you know, Tanya, you know, that's kind of, ooh. You know, you got to be able to receive that and not be so sensitive. Everything somebody brings to you ain't for automatic debate or automatic, I'm ready to put my dukes up. Sometimes just digress and just receive some constructive criticism, and especially when it comes to our children. I know we're mama bear and papa bear, but come on, y'all. If your child smells like the funk of 1,000 nations and somebody's bringing that to your attention, clean your children up. Because I'm going to tell you, I have smelled some funky children, and I'm not trying to be ugly. But like I said, those of us in the household of faith, we get the most bent out of shape and get an attitude. Like I said, this woman that I'm talking about, I mean, honey, she was ready to fight. I'm talking about knuckles, brass knuckles. Yeah, she was ready to go there because somebody said something to her child about being funky. Now, they didn't say it like that. I'm just being dramatic, but I'm just saying, if your child has a hygiene problem and it's been brought to your attention, just do what you need to do to correct it. And that's it. Anyway, that was just another thing I want to talk to y'all about. It's the weekend. Yes, sir. And if I don't do another video, y'all have a blessed and awesome weekend. And I'll see you next week. God bless, and may the peace of the Lord be with you.